do it again. He is such an incredible player, and it's actually honestly heartwarming to see him be this good again, to be in the final of a tournament this big, the biggest tournament even.
Yeah, Zest is a player whose career has extended for such a long period, and there's been a lot of doubt, there's been a lot of haters, there's been a lot of players saying that he's not going to be able to keep up with people over the years. They saw the Zest bank. People laugh about how his macro isn't quite as tight as other players, but he has really shown that he is still on that absolute top tier level, and oh my lord, he's starting off with something dirty.
He is indeed getting dirty, cracking open the book of filth, seeing what he can get done here in the early games against Rouge. With that high ground pylon, it's going to be Gateway Forge, and now a cannon rush for the natural Zerg. Will have a spot for his probe to escape up here to the north side. Rouge just cancelling that hatchery and going for the third base. And already Zest upsetting the flow for the Zerg and cancelling those extra pylons.
Yeah, now does he want to commit to the forward wall-off? Of course, he's walled in on one base back at home. Sniper Court just going down now. This is a rather fast cannon rush, and with the full wall-off, it definitely looks like he wants to set up on the front. You can see the second gas going down. Zest has spotted that. That means Ravagers are going to be the answer. If he wants to hold this position, he's going to need to build a lot of cannons and shield batteries.
You're absolutely right, as he wants to try and get the Robo up with that full wall-off. Now, we haven't seen the Roach Warren just yet from Rogue. He's going to be able to afford it in a second here. Whether he wants some Lings out to try and shepherd back that probe. Still not saturating that gas just yet. Maybe Rogue rethinking this.
This is a little bit odd here. Ling speed now starting up. No Roach Warren going down just yet. And the probe does come back in. Doesn't see any workers mining from that back gas. Robo does now go down here at the front. It's not a crazy fast Robo, but it is quite early. The cannons there. Zerglings are going to sneak on out. But, oh, that cannon actually a little exposed there. Is going to take quite a bit of damage.
And the probe's even assisting. The cannon will get up. So this is really brutal for Rogue. He has been walled into his main base. Ravagers, I feel like, are a necessity here. But he's going to try and push this back with Spine Crawlers from the high ground. If Zest gets high ground vision, this is going to be very rough for Rogue going forward.
And Crypt Tumor does go down. He's got to spread that forwards. The Spines, of course, want to move forward and take down these cannons and batteries from the high ground. With Ling speed on the way, it's just mass Zerglings. There's going to be a flood of Lings. The trick here when the fight happens is Zest needs to limit the surface area of those Zerglings. He needs to try to wall them off and really just try to stop them from surrounding his Immortals and his cannons.
And the high ground advantage there for those Spine Crawlers. The Queen actually takes quite a few shots, which means these Spine Crawlers get some pokes in before the cannon fires back. The Queen goes down. A little bit of a mistake there from Rogue. He's just trying to tank as many cannon shots as possible. 3 Spine Crawlers wailing on that one cannon, which just got a fresh new shield battery.
Is it worth all the shield battery energy though, Maynard? I'm not quite sure. I mean, this Immortal's now out, but he's got no juice left to heal it. That Immortal is trapped. It's not in Spine Crawler range just yet though. And right now, with all the shield battery energy gone, I mean, this is a bit of a disaster for Zest. He's got nothing to heal this Immortal.
He's got one shield battery on the right side, which does cover this ramp. The Ling's coming back, and they're going to go down, obviously, here. The Immortal muscling its way forward here. It's been a little bit sloppy for Zest, but if he gets a second Immortal and a Warp Prism, magic can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about making sure this can't be depowered. I really like the idea of a backup pylon on the left-hand side. 2 Immortals are now out. Tons of Zerglings on the right-hand side. The Prism is not out, so the Immortals can't risk poking in just yet. Remember, Rogue only on 14 workers, continuing to mass Zerglings. Banelings being added as well. Banelings, if they can crash into the center of the cannons, the pylons, they can take out multiple structures very effectively.
Banelings are so good at busting through cannons and pylons. The Immortals, if they're in position, can mitigate a lot of that damage, but Rogue has tons of Banes here on the right side.
Look at the Sim City, though. It is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
The Immortals in the choke points looking good. The Prism will be able to pick things up, and it can also repower structures that get depowered as well.
Really good point. The Prism is in the main base here of Rogue. One Spine Crawler goes down. The Immortals getting pushed back. In come the Banelings of Rogue. Right into the pylon. He depowers one. Not enough Banelings to bust this position, though. Zest still putting the pressure on the Zerg.
It's not enough just yet to break through, but more Lings and Banes coming on down. The Immortals are holding on, but there's no cannons left. They would love a bit more damage output. The Immortals taking forever to clean up these Zerglings.
And the Prism can be used here in a second, and it really should, as the Immortals are starting to get a little unhealthy. There's an area for the Immortal to be dropped next to that probe up here behind the mineral line. Zest utilizes it to try and get those Lings an unfavorable trade. They're going to wrap around the robotics facility here. A third Immortal close being done, but I don't think we're going to see it here, Big. Rogue fully surrounding that Robo. Oh, it's so close. The Immortal pops out just in time.
The shield
Immortals.
The healing on the Robo as well there allows a few more Zerglings to go down, and with 3 Immortals and a Prism, I'm not sure if you can keep up your production. Only 14 workers, remember, here for Rogue. Three Immortals with the Prism able to just bounce them around, pulling them back, save that Immortal at the front. Wow, waits to the last second there. And in a way actually baits Rogue into staying way too long at this point. Rogue, I think he's out of steam. The last handful of Zerglings, a single Queen. He's got nothing else. It's just a trickle of Lings for Rogue.
Oh, these Immortals, he just really doesn't have an answer. A lot of Lings is all he has. He doesn't have many Queens to pick up the Prism either. Zest is going to juggle it back, and GG! Zest will take game number 1 in a pretty nice fashion there. A very action-packed CVP for game 1. And you know what? I think that's just part of the reason why Zest is here on this stage, man. Yeah. He's not Mr. Standard. He's not Mr. Dark Shrine Archon drop every single PvZ. He has gotten really cheeky in a lot of his matchups.
I mean, Rogue there, you can see a little bit frustrated at the start of this series. And it's a great way to start up a best of 7. It is the first to 4 wins. Of course, you can afford to lose 3 maps. And coming out aggressive, now this already throws a spanner in the works for Rogue. He's got to think about how to deal with the cannon rush. He's got to think about how to deal with the hatchery block. Zest not giving a single moment of peace to his Zerg opponents. It's the same thing that helped him against Serral with the hatchery blocks into the Adepts here. Starting even earlier with the cannon rush, and Rogue's response not quite up to snuff. I do wonder how that would have gone if he stuck with the Ravagers. It felt like the Immortals weren't out particularly fast. I think Ravagers maybe would have been a better option. But as it was, Zest, a very good hold, survives the Lingbane Spinecrawler, and gets a nice quick map 1 lead.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision there from Rogue. I mean, obviously he's a better Zerg player than either of us ever will be, but he managed to, going for the Lingbane feels unconvincing. Having Files is such a wonderful thing to have against static structures, but that's game 1, and we are in game 2. In the bottom right here, currently down in the series, it is Generic Greenwings' Rogue!
Very doubtful he's going to let that happen again. But this man up here in the top left, he is a man with a big bag of tricks. He's been throwing his opponents off all tournament long, and he's looking to continue it here. Up here in the top left, in the blue, it is Zest.
He's built like a superhero, and he has a utility belt filled with tools to stop supervillains and super Zergs like Rogue.
And once again, blocking the hatchery, of course, nice and early down here. Zest so on point with that. And just forcing these Zergs to have this awkward third hatchery. Look at the distance on this map between the main and the third. It is massive. A long walk. Perfect option as a map here to go across with some Adept pressure. Threaten the third base, the main base at the same time. How are Roaches ever going to cover both at the once?
You're absolutely right. And honestly, this is phase 1 of a lot of the plans for Zest when he was up against Serral about an hour and a bit ago, where he would block the natural hatchery and then the Adepts came a knockin'. And Serral often taking critical damage.
For now, it is a hatch gas pool for Rogue. No doubt we'll be getting the Zergling speed. And very keen to see where he goes from there. Zest dropping that Nexus into Cybercore. And the probe, of course, just doing a little bit of harass on these mineral patches. Forcing a drone to kind of come off the line and try to protect his mining efficiency.
Yeah, it makes a bit of minerals difference there, and every single edge, every single mineral matters at this level, at this particular tournament, in this particular series. A lot of money on the line, $150,000 for whoever wins this series, and quite a few Pro Tour points as well. And not to mention, a seeding into next year's Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2021, getting straight into the tournament.
I think this would be such a win for all the old dogs out there if they can see Zest hold up this trophy. Even just being here in this grand finals 5 years after he held it the last time, I mean, it's a testament to just your history as a player, the real legacy that you're going to carry on. You know, Zest, he's won multiple GSL championships, he's won this Katowice championship, and here's still smashing it at the top level. It's going to be a Stalker first, coming out to deny the Scout from the gateway, straight into a Twilight Council behind it.
And normally you would see this, Robo short to follow, and you'd be like, oh, DT Archon drop, right? Well, lately, it's Resonating Glaives and a lot of Adepts. Rogue getting the Baneling Nest back at home now as well.
Oh,
pretty quickly here. I think he might be trying to go for the old Busteroo.
So there is an Adept out as well as the Stalker. Now the Adept is now going across the map. But something we've seen here is Zest has been so tight with his openings. Sometimes he completely skips the second gateway unit for a while. In this case, you can see no gateway unit building. Why? He wants to start glaives. He wants to get his gateways down. He's going to be pulling workers off gas in the main. You can see only 2 on each gas guys. They're going to go up to 5 gateways now. Don't get me wrong, 5 gate glaive adept smashes Ling Bane, but can he get there in time?
Oh, I don't think the Shade saw it.
He sees the gas mining though. He did see the gas was still mining. That in of itself is a bit of a tell there. You know, if you want to play a bit safer here, a shield battery would be amazing. Another pylon at the front. Potentially keep your eyes open. And the Stalker in the wall as well. Very, very good at absorbing Baneling hits. But I mean, I don't think he actually noticed that gas still mining. There's no response just yet. Warp gate's almost done. He's going to have the first round of Adepts warping in, but it's going to be as the Banelings crash into the wall.
And the Adept is not as good at holding the wall as the Stalker. Zest absolutely misreading this. And in comes Rogue with a big heavy counterpunch. Down goes the Adept and in come the Lings. Zest is in so much trouble.
Oh, the 3 gateways at the front. They're not going to have time to warp in. They're depowered instantly. And just like that, Rogue is saying, hey, you're not the only one who can play aggressive, mate. I can do that dance as well. I know the moves to this. Zergling Baneling crashing into the main base, and there is nothing standing in his way.
He is just running those probes around. A little bit of probe micro there to try and save the cluster of probes alive. I mean, Rogue is all in here, but Zest, the Banelings find the opening, get a big cluster of probes. They are trying so hard to avoid these Banelings.
There's more and more Lings pouring in, and there is just that one gateway producing Adepts right now, and they're doing a good job. You can see the Adept in the mineral line pocket. She's fighting Zerglings off one at a time. She's going to take down a lot of them. But, the Prism actually repowered 2 gateways at the front. A clever move. I was like wondering how so many Adepts were warping in off one gateway. But,
that was the big Baneling connection that Rogue was looking for. 24 probes go down.
In Pro League for many years, and being really raised in that Korean scene, playing for such a long time at this point, and really maintaining his health. His wrist condition has been good, and his build orders are tight. His execution is on point. Zest still here playing with the big boys.
Absolutely. Well, we've got Nightshade Pig, ZVP. Talk to us a little bit about the matchup and this particular map.
Yeah, Nightshade is similar to Simulacrum. We're getting the 2 maps with the biggest spread of bases out kind of early. Third base, big wide open area between it. Of course, we've seen a lot of Baneling attacks coming in on this map. Ravager Ling Bane, Baneling Runbase trying to hit the mineral lines. And because of that, we've seen Zest almost always opt for Glaive Adept and go up into Blink Stalker, Immortal Archon Storm. We saw him hold on against a big Ravager Baneling attack from Serral and then return to win that game. So definitely expecting the Glaive Adepts out of Zest. Would not be surprised to see Ravager, Zergling, Baneling here out of Rogue. I don't think we'll see Nidus Swarmhost on this map, but when you're talking about Rogue, you never know.
It is so interesting, this Resonating Glaive thing we've been seeing a lot in this tournament is generally followed by Blink Stalkers, which is something that you don't see, or didn't see, I should say, but you have been seeing it quite a bit. You didn't used to see it in this matchup very much, Blink Stalkers. They were kind of the, oh god, there's Broodlords and I don't have an answer upgrade. Other than that, you never really got it, or there was some kind of weird timing attack.
Yeah, I think really what Protoss players are looking for here is more ability to micro their units to get edges and really tread water on the map and create pressure, and it just kind of exerts some sort of stress on the Zerg opponent. So the Blink Stalkers work with the sentries in the force field as a long-range unit. They have flexibility with Blink. They can dodge against Banelings, they're armored units. So it really just allows you to move around the map and create a lot of pressure. Of course, the weak point is that those Stalkers just don't pack a lot of damage.
This might be a fast series, Pig. We have got a very early Roach Warren here from Rogue. And he's looking to try and hit Zest with a early all-in.
It's this build order. The Zergs are afraid of it. These Adepts get to your base so quickly. Every Zerg is just blindly expecting this from him. Serral was not able to deal with it. Rogue's answer is to just try and kill you. And we've got the Roach Warren finished. Another Overlord finished. 4 Roaches already on the way. He might just stop there and go pure Zergling. 6 Roaches, okay. Are we going to see? We're going to see them morphing into Ravagers as they come across the map.
I think we will.
Just 2 base, 1 gas. And where is the scouting for Zest? I mean, does he have any information out on this map? It seems like he has no idea right now.
He sees these Lings, and there are quite a few of them, but that's not super uncommon to see this many Lings. There is, of course, a flood of Zerg units coming from the main and the third base of Rogue, or rather the natural at the third location. Zest with the exact same build order as last game. And if Rogue keeps punishing him for this, Zest might have to try something else on, because this does not look good for Zest. He's trying to start up a shield battery this time for defense. Or rather, a backup pylon.
Oh, he's got to wall that off. He's got to wall that off right now. The Adept goes down. The Probe does not wall off in time. Oh no, the Roaches aren't even there yet, and it's already a disaster.
Yeah, the Lings are actually possibly going to critically hit Zest here, surrounding those probes that are trying their best. One Stalker coming in from the main base, warping in a sentry to try and slow the flow of Zerg units, but it's just not.
Rogue's build blocking that natural expansion, forcing them to the third. But Rogue here, he studied his opponent, stops it, gets the hatch down a couple supply early, costs him a little bit, but well worth it to stop that block.
I mean, we talked about it a bit before the games even started at the beginning of the cast, is that just Rogue is so good at downloading his opponents. He got to watch Zest series against Serral as well. He just has so much information, and we're already seeing it come to fruition for the Zerg so far.
I think the big problem in those last couple of games, Zest not willing to compromise on his build order. He wants to hit the super fast, brutal Adept timing. That window where the Zerg's Roaches are just getting out and the Adepts are already in the mineral lines. But because he is just really cutting corners to hit that as fast as he can, he's not scouting well enough. He's not realizing these pushes are coming and he's getting blindsided by them. You know, when you're just banking on a Warp Prism and a bunch of gateways kicking in, you really don't have anything that helps you fight, defend, or scout early on. It's not like an Oracle opening, where you get to see things and defend with that Oracle. It's not like something where you open up with a fast Immortal for an Immortal Sentry pressure, which happens to automatically defend any of these attacks. So, Zest here. Does he go back to the Stargate? Does he stick with the exact same opening? What's the change-up?
So far, it looks like the same opening from Zest. Instantly into the Warp Gate with the Adept usually means not a Stargate. You can just get it a little bit later, but as we see that, the Twilight Council does go down, and Zest showing signs of just going for ye old faithful.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, the problem right now is it has been broke 2 games in a row. This is almost like, basically Zest is saying, look, I'm just going to scout a little bit better, and you know what are the chances that you think I'm doing it again? There's like this crazy game of chicken right now where he's jumping in front of the truck and he's hoping that the truck swerves away from him, because Zest, I mean, this is the exact same opening. We haven't seen a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest yet. Rogue has pulled off gas. I think Zest is actually going to get away with it this time.
Now, World of Sleepers is a very, very large map. Those early rallies from the Zerg, not as effective. Prism play can be very much so. There's that Resonating Glaives. Robo, third of the way done here for the Protoss.
I really want to see what this Adept scouts, because this has got to be on Zest's mind. Hey, are you still mining gas? What's going on in there? And
I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, he might have seen it on the previous shade before that, and maybe that's why he's so comfortable. And that Stalker's way out on the map right now. That's really dangerous if he had actually been worried about it. But of course, I guess he has realized that the Zergling speed, I don't think that was made this game. Does look like it's just a very efficient economic opening here. Roach Warren going down for Rogue. He's going to just use that gas for a quick lair. Okay. So yeah, Zest definitely saw that the spawning pool wasn't wiggling and saw that there was no gas mining with his first shade. Zest feels very safe here.
And he is going to be able to get this build kicking in. How effective will it be is the next question I have in my mind. Rogue on his side of the map, just rounding out his build order, does cut Link speed, as Pig mentioned, which means with the extra 100 gas getting the faster lair, he's able to get Roach speed after that, and then wherever he wants to go from that point, whether it be, you know, continuing on to Roach, you know, Ravager, or if he just wants to go into, you know, Infestation Pits, Swarm Hosts, anything, the world is your oyster. World of Sleepers, speaking of which, very, very large map, lots of places to be able to be cheeky, hide things. There's some popular Swarm Host locations, but
yeah,
and that is theory crafting here. Zest coming across the map, and Rogue already with a big swell of Roaches.
Yeah, gonna have plenty of Roaches to defend this. I don't think there's any drones on the third base just yet. Yeah, evacuating just the small handful that are there. It's gonna minimize those critical areas that need to be defended down to just the main and the natural. The Adepts, though, quick focus fire, do take out a Roach. And that's the real power of having quite so many Adepts here. They're gonna come forward and start to focus on a Queen. They've got to be wary, though.
Another big warp in here from Zest. Looks like the Shade's going to get cancelled. The Roaches need to chase down each Shade. He gets a Queen there. No Roaches, no Queens, no problems here for Zest. But there is starting to get a good number attacking into the Adepts right now. It's focus firing, another Roach down.
Whoa, the Adepts are straight up doing not too bad in this fight. I think it's okay for Rogue, but quite an efficient trade here for Zest. He's just taking on the Roaches head-to-head, warping in even more Adepts right now. And there we go, pulling back a little bit, forcing the Roaches to split. And then as the Roach number splits up, that's where we see potential cancels on the Shades. This time he realizes more Roaches are at the third, not as many at the natural. It's going to dive right on in there. More Queens going down. Still no drones falling, but there is mining time being lost here. Zest, he can't throw all these Adepts away, though. There's a lot of Roaches on the map. He's got to find a bit more damage, and damage he does find.
And he's in the main base. More Adepts down here in the natural with a Warp Prism just engaging Roaches directly. Zest not micro in the battle. He's got a third Nexus up back at home. And he's going to get way more drone kills here. The Adepts shading on top of him. He's nearly got a dozen drones gone down.
Yeah, these Adepts now finally getting cornered. Rogue is getting his revenge for all these workers killed, all this lost mining time. He's been rebuilding his drones in the midst of it, but that does open up the third to yet again more damage going down.
Oh man, 4-ire indeed, these Adepts. I think that time is done. He's going to load up what he has in the Prism and see if he can find more drone kills. Rogue is going to go across the map and try and punish the Protoss for his sins. Maybe getting a cancel in that third base, doing damage in the natural or straight up killing him would be wonderful here, but there is going to be an Immortal. There are Stalkers, even the Prism getting recalled here.
Yeah, 4 Adepts, 5 Stalkers, and an Immortal. That's not a great army right here. The Prism will add some micro ability, but I'm not sure he'll be able to defend this third base. It's a pretty good size pack of Roaches, plus Roach speed is done. But the Stalker's coming forward. The Immortal's going to get there in time. Rogue's committing right now. Is he going to get it?
He's focus firing. I think he will. Just stutter stepping a little bit. That Nexus is so low, and he does get the cancel. Actually, I think that might have been a kill there from Rogue. Yes, it was. Ooh. Big pick off there for the Zerg.
Yeah, that's actually pretty big. A lot of Roaches do go down, so it's by no means free. But Zest there going to have to quickly rebuild that. Picks up the Adepts, goes back across the map. Starting upgrades behind that. Rogue, though, 62 workers. Ravagers and Roaches are on the way in very large numbers, and I think getting rid of that third Nexus, such an important move there for the Zerg.
Yeah, it slows down the production of Zest, or the income for the production, rather. You know, if you're getting double Robo Immortal out, you're getting a lot more Gateway units, you got your +1 attack, Blink, and a whole lot of Stalkers done. Roaches and Ravagers just really aren't a problem, especially when you get to the point where you can start throwing in Archons as well. Prism goes through the main base here, but it's locked down very tightly by Rogue. Roaches and Ravagers tagging on that War Prism.
And these Adepts just posturing around, looking for an angle. He's going to find more harassment damage in this game. It's going to be Blink Stalkers and Immortals up against mostly Mass Roach Ravager. Interestingly, no Banelings, no Zerglings just yet. Of course, Ling Speed only now starting up, and whoo, that's an infestation pit. Seems like it's Rogue's favorite thing, doesn't it? Definitely making me think about potential swarm hosts here in the future.
Yeah, it's almost certainly. I mean, he loves it. He loves this strategy. He loves this map. And it's not a surprise at all to see it happening. It is such an effective strat still. Even though it did get nerfed, it's still so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, once you're maxed on Stalkers, they're actually amazing versus Swarm Hosts because their maneuverability.
Right.
The problem is, up to that point, they do almost no damage, and you really, I mean, Locusts are one of the highest damage units in the game. You want to kill them before they get any shots off. The moment they get to stand their ground and fire, they will obliterate anything within reach. Stalkers are not good at stopping that happening, but we can already see Zest here posturing around the middle of the map. His army definitely smaller than Rogue's, but a lot of Rogue supply tied up in Swarm Hosts in production right now. They're not really going to offer anything to this engagement.
They can fire off a wave of Locusts, whether it be offensively or defensively, and it looks like it has to be defensively here from Rogue. Gets a cancel on that fourth base. The economy of the Zerg is not incredible at the moment. 66 is good, but still only really mining from 3 bases. Protoss coming up the ramp here. He's got a lot of sentry energy as well. Rogue on the defensive, he has to hold on.
The worm pops out on Zest's side of the map. Zest, I mean, he did not expect this to start hitting him. He's going to try to push in on the front, but he's forced to go up a ramp into Mass Roach Ravager. That's not the engagement you want to be taking. The big push, he's going for it. Zest, he's trying to find units, good force fields, trapping some Roaches, but most of them do escape.
They certainly do. This looks all right for Rogue on both angles as the main base is going to get targeted down by these +1 Locusts. The Immortals really hammering that front side there of the Roaches and Ravagers. The Prism coming in to assist as Zest eats a couple biles there. The Stalkers on the backside with +1 attack, actually cutting through the Roaches and Ravagers. This is a very tense fight.
4 Immortals left standing, one of them has fallen, 3 Immortals very low on hit points, and as the next Locust wave comes in, I mean, this is only the dregs of a Protoss army. The Queens have come in, the Swarm Hosts coming in from behind to ensure it, and even though 19 workers fell, remember that Zest lost a base. Zest here, he's trying to make it happen, it's all or nothing right now. Locusts come in from behind, they are flanking, he's got to run north, he's got to get away from those Locusts.
And he certainly does, he's turning tail and running here. I like that Rogue's throwing in a bunch of Lings as well, because the primary army of Zest is Stalkers. and the Lings make sure that they cannot escape with those surrounds. It's hard to blink against as well. The Locusts expire there defensively for Rogue. Picking off that main Nexus, a massive deal. Zest not replenishing it. He's just long-distance mining here. He does have a Dark Shrine, so he can get things like Archons, maybe DT harassment, but he just doesn't have much money, specifically gas. He's not mining much at all.
This is one of those moments where with just one army, with almost pure Blink Stalkers, a single Warp Prism and 2 Immortal, Zest has to make magic happen with this army. There is no commitment to trying to recover his economy, and another Locust Wave coming in towards his natural. He's going to lose one of his last 2 mining bases here, and as that goes down, Zest is going to be forced. He's going to have to pull the trigger. He has to hit Rogue, and he has to hit him now.
Nice Nexus, think I'll take it. Rogue putting the critical damage to Zest. Zest is 100% all in, and he's going to try and make it happen right now. But the Lings, like I mentioned, a problem here for those Blink Stalkers, always taking damage whenever those Lings get the surrounds there. And the Prism is dancing around the corrosive piles. Speaking of which, Zest in these engagements, it actually almost always has the corrosive piles connecting with his army. It's a bit funny to see sometimes. He really can't make mistakes like that right now.
Yeah, these Stalkers, I mean, they're doing some fantastic positioning, but you can see just how low their damage output is. Even though they pick off an odd unit here or there, the Lings and the Ravagers much more powerful at swelling in.
In come the Locust for that final Nexus. There's only one remaining.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're just on a move here, so it looks like they might not get this Nexus.
But even as is, Zest barely producing units right now. 4 more Stalkers warp in. There's no force fields, no Archons, no Zealots. The Ravagers come forward. The Prism takes some hits. It does barely get out of there, but the Immortals fall at the same time. The Stalkers spreading out into a concave, but there is not enough.
GG. This has been a pretty fast best of 7 so far. Those were the longest game for sure by a fair margin as Rogue gets the victory on World of Sleepers off the back of some Swarm Host. Nidus weren't played. I know you guys all missed it. Me too. Glad to see it again.
You know, it's Rogue's specialty when he is ahead especially. He loves to just rush on into that and use that Nidus Worm. The Ravager's such a powerful defensive unit. And Rogue knows if he can really put the Protoss in a terrible economic situation at home, force them to attack into his Ravagers, that's his happy place. Rogue, I mean, I'm sure this guy has dreams of just standing on top of a ramp with 13 Ravagers and watching Protoss players attack into his corrosive biles. He's so damned good at it. And just taking advantage of his Protoss opponent. Big hats off to Rogue there for a perfect defense of that early Adept pressure. It could have gone a lot worse. Those Adepts were in all 3 bases at once at one point, but the drones never stood their ground. They were always quick to run, and he mitigated a lot of the damage.
And as it stands right now in this series, our 2018 Intel Extreme Masters champion, our 2017 World Champion is on match point. Can he do it right here in Zen? This is the man himself. In the bottom left, from G-Deck Wings, he is Rogue!
And facing off against him with absolutely no room for error left in this series. Up in the top right-hand side, he needs your energy more now than ever. Fans everywhere around the world, you have to send your energy to this man. In the top right in the blue, he is Zest.
Currently #1 in Pro Tour points, but that might change here at the end of this series. Zest did get the block off on the natural this time, forcing Rogue to a different position. And I gotta say, even though this series has been rough for Zest for the most part, I like this map a lot for his style in PvZ.
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it? Awkward to move your units around. Things like Adept Shades being able to bounce between the bases can be very effective. And remember, Zest, you know, he doesn't have to play that style. Earlier today against Serral, he opened up Phoenixes on this map and then did a brutal 2-pronged charge lot Archon attack. Dropped 2 Archons in the back of the main base, warped in 8 Zealots, and attacked the front with a bunch of Archons and Zealots at the same time. He's got a lot of variety. He's got a few different moves under his belt, that's for sure.
Speaking of variety, a little bit of a difference here from Zest, going for the Cybercore before the Nexus. A little bit of extra safety.
Yeah, that is going to give him a little bit of a faster Adept. Could even chrono 2 Adepts. It's a tiny map. So if you get straight across the map with 2 Adepts, especially with the third base being so exposed, you might be able to get 4 or 5 workers, or at least force a bunch of them into Spore Crawlers, pick off some Zerglings, get in between the 2 bases, catch the rallying drones. I'd love to see an aggressive opening like that.
And it certainly does play to it here on Zen. We have the first Adept being chrono boosted immediately there. Warp Gate gets researched behind that play from Zest. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense for him to go for that Twilight Council and go for this build, the Cybercore being done. You know, obviously, he needs to wait for that 100 gas to do it.
Yep, we are going to, of course, see that Adept pop out. Second Adept does start up, but just rallied home. So it looks like just a single Adept to scout.
Twilight Council gets plopped in the main base there behind the mineral lines. First Adept heading through the middle of the map, enjoying the sights of Zen before it becomes a battlefield of death and destruction.
Is that a probe in the top left of the map?
I think it is.
It is. Okay, it's going to be the proxy gate variation here. No Robo, just going to be a ton of Adepts. Might even be a 7 or 8 gate Adept all in here. So this is a really, really big attack that's being planned here by Zest. It could always, of course, be a bit more of a standard one, just going to DTs behind it, warping up there in the top left. A few different ways this can happen, but either way, Zest has something special in store. Rogue here has no idea just yet.
And it is the Dark Shrine going down from Zest, but it's a proxy Dark Shrine. So Archon's looking to be the problem for Rogue, and even just having Cloak Boys in general, hacking and slashing through your drones, which they all one-shot, can be a massive problem. You know, Rogue right now can guarantee what he's thinking. Huh, again, Zest? Adepts against me?
You know, there's a funny thing where we often think of DTs as kind of obvious in this matchup, and it's because the Zerg players have such good vision around the Protoss space with Zerglings and Overlords. They always see the Warp Prism coming, and they're kind of watching it. But when you come from the corner of the map like this, you can do a fast warp in on that gateway. The Dark Templar hit you from a surprising angle at a surprising moment. And sometimes when you... Oh, what the... Oh, my lord! Those Zerglings all on a diet. They just slid right through that gap. The Adept not in position on time. Good probe micro does make up for it, so it's not the worst trade. And there's nothing to follow it up, so I think that's actually totally okay for Zest.
Yeah, he was completely fine. I was very, very worried for him right there. Keep in mind that his tournament life is very much on the line here. He is one map away from elimination. Rogue's going for +1 melee here, so a bit of a different build from the Zerg. And Zest Dark Templar are about to be warped in here at that proxy pylon.
Oh, Zergling
Rogue's
comes up. He sees it. Now he's going to spot that DT shrine. The DTs are already on their way, waltzing towards the third. The Spore goes down. It's not going to be ready in time, but can he protect it? He might be able to hold position. Drones and Zerglings in front by a few moments to get it alive. You can see there he is. Yeah, Rogue, he's putting the units up. He says, take us, don't take the Spore Crawler. They are going to try to hold their ground. The Zerglings, the drones, and I think he's done it. The Spore, oh, the DTs do get on top of it. Morphed into an Archon and recalled. Well done there by Zest.
Yeah, very nicely done. That Archon's going to survive, and obviously it will regenerate its shields. So it goes back home. Zest still making more Dark Templar here at this proxy pylon. Of course, Rogue will be able to clean that up shortly. DT holding that line until Rogue has lair and mobile detection. Nothing he can really do against DTs out in the field off creep at the moment.
I mean, you got to be scared of an attack coming from there. There's 2 gateways proxied up there, which is kind of unfortunate. If those gateways go down, that's a lot of your production that you're actually going to lose out on.
It does feel very awkward now for Zest. He wanted a lot more damage from that play with the Dark Templar.
Yeah, I like the Archons in the gap there, but Zerglings are going to catch it morphing, so they'll get quite a bit of damage on it initially. Rogue might just be happy to take the trade, even though that Archon will take out quite a lot of the Zerglings.
Well, apparently not. Archon holds the line, keeps that proxy alive. Rogue deciding to drone up instead and take those lings elsewhere. Looks like he might try and poke the third Nexus of Zest, which makes a lot of sense as +1 attack finishes.
Zest's economy looking kind of sick right now. 50
yeah, very nice.
Rogue only just overtook him on the work account. The third Nexus up. Oh no! Archon in the open!
Left out in the open, and then the Lings just nibble it to pieces. Down goes the Stalker, down goes the Archon, and the third base left very exposed.
Oh, and he's already got so many Stalkers. I don't know if there's... Oh, he was planning to do a blink attack maybe to follow this up. He had no Zealots. Normally you'd have some Zealots or something that was going to do a little bit more to hold on. But now all these expensive Stalkers just getting hammered. Rogue here with a +1 melee, an opportunistic wraparound, finds a good bit of damage.
Oh my god. And he's not done, Pig. Just circling around these slow Zealots into the main pace. Zest has lost his footing here, and he's sliding down the cliff face. Rogue is on the precipice. He's just flooding more Lings in. He doesn't even need to make Hydras. He got the Hydra den, but the Lings could do the job.
Yeah, he's hanging off the cliff right now. And I mean, right now, Rogue is just viciously stepping on his handholds, trying to push him off the edge. The Archon's trying to come in to do a backstab, but the Probe's up against +1 melee Zerglings. A terrible fight for Zest.
Yeah, he's macroing his probes as well as he can, but the numbers game is bad here. He's trying to hold position, these DTs, which is a nice position, of course, but there is an Overseer, so Rogue can actually deal with these DTs offensively off creep now with a lair, and he just continues to find more and more damage. This is such an inexpensive play for Rogue on his 55 drone economy. Obviously, that's not a huge drone count, but with the amount of damage he's done to Zest, 19 probes.
Oh,
and the Archon!
The Archon!
No! Zest is falling apart. Rogue is all over him.
Yeah, this is absolutely brutal. Zest here with a wild, crazy play, looking to catch Rogue off guard, but Rogue's scouting is great, and his sense of weakness is even better. He sniffs blood in the water, he smells it, and he's gone straight for the throat. Zest unable to hang on the non-stop flood of Lings.
GG! And our 2018 Intel Extreme Masters champion is going to fight.